Hello, everybody. I'm back in the groove here after a couple of days off. Yeah, I took a couple of days off, Thursday and Friday, and I took off out of the area, relaxed. Talk about that maybe in a few minutes once we get the show going here. First off, I want to just look at the meteor crater and say, "Oh, somebody actually did something around here." The meteor crater, I'm just going to adjust this little camera here a little bit. The meteor crater is trimmed. They gave it a wax job. I don't know if it's from Brazil, a Brazilian wax job, but they sure did give it a trim and it looks fantastic. Somebody actually walked from the side through it when I was here this morning right now because they could. Yeah, looks a lot better than it did. The city got in there. I don't know. I mean, I posted it last week sometime around the weekend because Gary Wilkins, of course, the Doge president in town, was out there and he saw it trim, sent me the picture, and I posted it. Congratulations, the city. It looks a lot better than it did. Those noxious weeds, the rats and ticks are all gone for now. And that should be the last one they have to do. They should do it twice a year, but at least it's better than nothing. It looks better. And with the rain last night, it's even getting a little bit green. That's it. That was great, that rain. Got a haircut. I was starting to call it a pollinator meadow because they want to spend $40,000 on a pollinator meadow, and we had one right across in the meteor crater for free. As 3i Atlas approaches Mars, and who knows what else is going to come there, but it's looking better. And I mean, better is a relative thing. I mean, if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig, but it looks better with the lipstick. But the one good thing, surveyors were in there, and they were looking at stuff, and core samples were in there taking core samples. So I think something may happen in the near future, and near is a relative term. I use it very, very loosely because 4 years ago, 3 years ago, when Mayor Diodati was in the studio, he said there's something going to be built there right away. It's been 8 years, so we'll see. But we finally did get some rain last night, and that's fantastic. And I can't say enough. My lawn was dry, everything was dry. Now it's looks like a lot better, and everything looks better. Just in case you don't know who I am, I'm sitting here on the video. I'm Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice. I forgot my sign today. I don't know why. I don't even know where it went. It might even be in the studio. Maybe I forgot it here and didn't pack it up. It wasn't in my bag when I got here, so I'll have to check it out and look for it when I get back home. And we're in the studios of 4680Q in downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Before we get into the show, where we're going to talk about busting balls, meteor crater, chili con carne, some city council news, Charlie Bagram, Charlie Kirk, all of today's show. Stay tuned. We're talking about everything today. Everything I missed in the last 3 or 4 days, I'll try to get to a lot of it. But in an hour, you can only do so much. What are you going to do? That's what I got. Okay, so let's get to my sponsors. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, Hamill Machine Company, and of course the Niagara Parks Commission. Now, when we look at the weather, we know what's coming. It's cloudy out there. It's going to rain again, it looks like, but we know what's coming. We know that winter is coming. So you have to be proactive, not reactive. You want to get your car in to see Ken Hunter at Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. You want your car checked over. You want it looked at. You want to make sure you don't break down. You're ready for winter. Check your cooling systems. Check your heater core. Check everything you need to make sure that your car is running tip-top, as well as on the safety side, your brakes and all other systems. He's got a computer there. You plug your car in, and it tells you everything wrong. He'll fix it for you right there. And if you get in a jam with your car as far as getting in an accident, he's got a full body shop there. He'll take your car in and send it back to you in showroom condition. You can't beat it. Wild Bill's Auto and Body Shop. Auto Repair and Body Shop. Can't beat it. On Oakwood Drive, next to the Kia dealership. And go to wildbillsauto.ca. You can check out their whole site and everything they do over there. They do lots. And while you're in there, slide over to YouTube. Pull up my video. give my video a thumbs up, thumbs down, leave a comment, and also subscribe to the channel. We're closing in on 200. We need some more. We need 20 more or something like that. We're at 200 subscribers. Come on, let's go. Let's get it done. We have an election coming up. We want all the news. We want people to know what's going on. We want an educated populace voting on election day in 2026. Oh yeah, I know it's a year away. It's a year away. True enough, but you know how fast the year goes? It flies by just like that. So we want to get subscribed, get all the information, leave your comments. We'll discuss anything you have to say, and away we go. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, let's get into the show. And I already talked about the meteor crater, which is, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Somebody somewhere is listening to the show. They have to be, because I complain about it all the time. I complain about the meteor crater all the time. Somebody's listening, and they gave it a haircut, which is awesome. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, I got to mention, I didn't have any comments in the last 2 days. Of course, Thursday and Friday. I wasn't here. I didn't do a show. But I got to mention, I got to give a shout out to my nemesis, Benny Sarah, who never fails to bust my balls about everything. If I get on the internet and I'm talking about anything, Benny Sarah's there to bust my balls. He uses another name, though, so I didn't know it was him, Benny Peters. And I really don't creep people's Facebook pages. When they put a comment, I just reply with what I think is what I want to say. But Benny's a beaut. But he did say half of Niagara Falls laugh at me in my show, and they don't listen. And I'm going, geez, we have 110,000 people in Niagara Falls. If half aren't listening, half must be. That's 55,000 people. I'm a star. I mean, look at those numbers, and all the other podcasters can weep, man. That's huge. And he says he has 1,000 relatives in town, and I don't know if he's got 1,000, but he does have a lot. I know most of them. But he says they don't listen. They just laugh at you. And I go, well, whatever. Benny's a good guy. He's a Chicago Blackhawks fan to boot. Oh, well, he might be depressed because Chicago's going nowhere fast this year. But I say, Benny, keep the comments coming. I love them. You're what keeps me going. You are the motor behind my engine. You're the gas. But I'd rather get you in the studio here. Come on, you should come on in the studio. Forget about Facebook going back and forth. You're a good guy. Come on in the studio. We'll talk about it. We'll sit here, bring up subjects, and you can give your opinion. I love it. I mean, we're opposed to a lot. We don't see eye to eye in a lot of stuff. We don't see eye to eye, but come on in. Let everybody know your views. Maybe you like it. I don't know if you got time. You say you golf every day, and then you go to Florida for the winter. So maybe you don't have time. But it'd be interesting to have you in here. It'd be my pleasure to welcome you into the studio. Now, I know when Benny Sarah is listening to my show, and he must, because he said it sucks. So he's got to listen to it to know that it sucks. But I know when he listens to my show, I've hit the big time. Benny Sarah puts me in the big time. Take care, Benny. And if you want to come in, open invitation to Benny Sarah to come on in. And the thing, but you should use your real name on Facebook. I mean, you should use your real name. Like I'm out there, I put my name out there. Like you take the good with the bad when it comes to comments. You have an opinion. You want people to know it's your opinion. I don't know Benny Peters, but I know Benny Sarah. Okay, let's get over to the viewer comments. We didn't have any comments, like I said, I was away, so we did have a good time in Erie, though. I did take off to Erie for a few days. Had a good time with Kevin Mancuso, Chopper, my buddy Chopper, and Breda, his wife Breda. And we took in some great racing at Presque Isle, stakes races on Friday, featuring really good horses and jockeys. They were all in Pennsylvania, ready to go down to Bensalem for the Pennsylvania Derby on Saturday, which was won by Baeza. And I've been waiting for this horse to break out. He was in the Kentucky Derby and all that other stuff. So I've been waiting for them to break out. And at the end of the day, he won. So great. Congratulations to Baeza. Always a great time in the area. I recommend it to anybody who wants a short trip to get away for a couple of days. It's only an hour and a half away. You stop at the rest stop in Angola, stretch your feet, do what you got to do, and an hour you're there in Erie, and they have great restaurants. Just a great place to be. Okay, let's look at some council notes. Last Tuesday was the September City Council meeting. There wasn't really anything big on the agenda that I could really talk about, but there was one thing that really surprised me as I watched the meeting. The meeting moved pretty quickly. The format is a bit different, as the meeting was held at the Exchange, not at City Council chambers, and it's hilarious because when you get into the Exchange, it's more like a Senate hearing. It's really a weird thing to describe. You got to watch it. I think everyone, councilors and staff alike, are gearing up for the big budget meeting in a few months. So they're kind of running through these things. There's not a lot going on right now, not a lot of planning matters or anything at this point in time. It looks like to me like they're getting through this stuff. The penguin and the squirrel are trying to figure out how to grab us for another 6% this year, while council wrestles with a cost of living increase. The usual 3.94% they want, and 2.9% plus the 1% for asset management. 3.9% last year, and the year before 7.9 before that, and 4 or 5% before that, for about 25% over the last 4 years. And now we are looking down the barrel of a 6% increase this year. We'll see how City Council can cut that. They look like they're trying to figure out a way to give us the bad news. There was nothing big, no real grandstanding, except the usual Councillor Patel redundant questions that she should know the answers to, but for some reason cannot extract them from the agenda like most people, or just don't bother to. I don't know what it is. I thought we may hear something from Councillor Strange, who has another court date scheduled, I believe, for this week. I'm not sure. When it came to the wrongful conviction item, they're going to recognize Wrongful Conviction Day for those who have been convicted wrongfully. But I thought he might stand up and say something. I approve of this. I like this. But nothing. All in all, it was a pretty good meeting with Jody Burnett up and talking and keeping council on their toes. The only one concern I had, one thing I looked at that I thought would really bring forth some discussion, was the grants to La Pena and Company in the tune of almost $700,000. The guy figured they'd get up and say no. He applied past the date you're allowed to apply for it. So we are standing with our rules that we have in place, and we're going to turn it down, or at least there'd be some discussion. I mean, $700,000 is 1 point on your tax rate, and to just give it away, especially when proper procedure hasn't been followed, seemed a little bit like a no to me, but there was no discussion. As a matter of fact, there was nothing. Item 9.4, everybody approved? Boom, bang, any discussion? Nope, there was nobody that even asked for discussion. It seemed to be rushed through the process, like a sleight of hand. I don't know why anybody didn't. Councilor Lococo voted against giving him the money, but really never got up and said anything about it, and nobody else even questioned it. I mean, to me, this sets a really bad precedent, because why even bother having a date? Why even bother having any rules? If you're going to build something and you can go for the grants, you don't have to have them in by a second time. Just put them in anytime you want. Even if you don't know about them, put them in a year later. What's the difference? If they're going to backdate his, they can backdate anybody. As a matter of fact, if I had something that I didn't know about, I was too late, I'd be going down to City Hall with the paperwork, filled out, and asking them to backdate that as well. Not a good precedent. I was shocked that they never had a discussion about it or anybody brought it up. But then again, you know how people work in this city, and that's it. And that was about it for City Council. I really never saw anything else I really had a problem with. There was a one planning item for the corner of Dunn and Orchard, where they were going to build I think 3 townhouses. They discussed parking in that for a little bit, but there was nothing major about it. One resident had a concern about the project going in at the old Niagara College school there on Dunn Street, but nothing that was so pressing they would say no. So that's approved. So away we go. That's about it. I don't know if anybody else said anything in city council. If you did, you had something that you thought I should be talking about here or discussing, leave it in the comments and I'll get to it next show. Okay, moving over to the beer stores. They're closing them. And finally, this dinosaur is being put out to pasture. The monopoly is over, and if the province ever decides it has raped taxpayers enough, the buck of beer that Doug Ford proposed so long ago may become a reality. And we talked about the huge taxes on booze, and that's the only thing preventing a buck of beer is the taxes. Now we've got rid of the one big thing is the monopoly the beer store had on it. It's in corner stores and everything else now, so they're having to compete, and they can't. They can't. People like convenience. They don't want to run to one place that's got a monopoly on everything. The only thing the beer store is doing now is returnables. When you return the bottles and the cans and everything else. And I believe that's going to be put on the grocery stores on January the 1st, 2026. So they'll even lose that. Why am I going to go to the grocery store to buy beer and take my bottles to the beer store? That's ridiculous. Just cash them in while you're there. That's it. Pretty simple. Now, Ozzy Ahmed, where do you find these people running these places? The beer store vice president of retail cited Ontario's early implementation agreement that opened up the market and made real competition a reality. Not this fugazi stuff. Real competition. Free markets always prevail against monopolies. We know that. And I have seen better deals in some of these stores on beer than at the beer store. Now they can sell cases, I think. They're going to be able to. So it's done. How does it affect Niagara Falls? Well, the Rubby Dub beer store on Bridge Street is said to be closing. Now, I haven't read anything about that, but somebody told me they're closing. And that one there sells more single cans of Maximum Ice than any other beer store in the world, maybe over here. Most people don't go into it because of the clientele they get in there. Who knows what you'll catch there. That's the one that they said is closing. I'll wait and see. I haven't heard anything official, but that's what the story is on the street. So the beer store right now basically takes back empties. And when you get your empties back there, you buy a case while you're there with the money you get for your empties. But on January the 1st, 2026, all grocery stores that sell booze will have to start taking empties as well, like I said. So that'll make trips to the beer store a thing of history, much like the Posties, who Canada Post is right now making a new offer to or something like that. Anyway, I digress. We'll talk about that tomorrow. So that's that. Beer stores are closing all over the place. Excuse me. And we're into free markets. Can't believe it because we are in Canada. Now, while the beer stores are closing, the NDP were in town painting the town orange. That's right. The Cheeto Bandito welcomed all his compadres to Niagara Falls for I guess it's a convention. He was front and center, running around clapping with his dyed mustache and hair. I would love to have the contract for that dye, believe me. Unbelievable. But all his orange brother and sister come to town there. And they're running around like maniacs. They're going crazy here, all over the place. And yeah, it was a sight to behold. Now, Merritt Stiles, of course, was here, their leader, and they had a little vote, and 68% voted in favor of her remaining the leader. even though they got trounced. So basically, they were here having a good time. Thank you for coming to Niagara Falls. We can always use the people here having their conventions, but really, it was a big orange nothing burger as usual, and they'll be hanging around to 2029 or sooner, but probably till the next election. So keep track of them. Keep track of them. But they're in town, and that's nice that they decided to bring the road show to Niagara Falls. So get this now. Have you ever heard of Dildo, Newfoundland? Well, I'm going to tell you about it in a minute after I get to my second sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And my big thing about pizza is sauce and the crust. I mean, mozzarella cheese is mozzarella, but Pete's Pizza just don't do the mozzarella thing. They add brick cheese to it to make it really good. But the sauce and the crust of the Mancini family recipe been around since for 40 years now. They were celebrating their 40th anniversary of the Mancini's opening up the first Pete's Pizza in St. Catharines. I think it was on Ontario, just off Ontario by the GM place there. And that recipe's been tried and true. It's been around for 40 years, so it's good. Now, when you add fresh toppings and you cook it just right, and the cheese, the sauce ratio, so you get the most flavor from both of them, you can't go wrong. You got a winner, and that's what Pete's Pizza delivers time after time. They're consistently good, and that's important as well. Now, they have chicken wings that are out of this world. Steak and cheese poutine, regular poutine, fries, panzerotti. They have a full menu, so even if you're not a big pizza fan, you're going to find something there you like. They have specials all the time. They're opening up a new location, Thoroldstone and Kaler Road, where the Pie Guys used to be. For the people out in the northwest section of Niagara Falls, now you can enjoy great pizza as well. How can you go wrong? Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue and now Kaler and Thoroldstone Road. Get out there, grab a pizza. You're going to like it. And Rex and Mike are going to take care of you. How do you get one? You can order it 905-374-2222. You can call the store. You can go to their website and order. They do Dine and Skip and all the other delivery services. You can't go wrong. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Support our sponsors. They support the city. They're good corporate citizens. So, Dildo, Newfoundland. They named one Jimmy Kimmel as their honorary mayor. I think that's appropriate. It fits. After his not so funny for a comedian take of Charlie Kirk's demise, ABC Disney let him go. See you later, you schmuck. With his low ratings, he decided to take the low road, and it took him to Dildo, Newfoundland. That's right, they got rid of him. His ratings were tanking like all these other guys. Howard Stern and the other Colbert, the whole bunch of them. They're all getting fired. Don Lemon got fired. A whole whack of them got fired lately because they're a bunch of chumps. Now, for all the left wing blaming his demise on Trump, they're saying it's Trump's fault. Trump was the one who got him fired. I will say this again. Number one, Trump had nothing to do with his show tanking and being taken off the air. It was his destiny. His dumb comments just sped up the process, and now he's gone. He's gone. Yeah, it's a funny thing. They cry and scream about Jimmy Kimmel because of free speech, Second Amendment, free speech. They always yell about First Amendment, free speech. But hey, wasn't Charlie Kirk shot in the throat by an assassin because of free speech? Because he spoke freely? Yeah. How about that? They're not crying about that. They're crying about a comedian losing his job. He'll probably get on another venue podcast or something to make his money anyway. Number two, freedom of speech does not guarantee freedom from consequence. Employers are very sensitive about their brand, and we all know that. And in this case, there was a lot of negative opinion being forwarded to the network because of these comments he made. And that's the consequence of free speech. He said what he wanted. He got his First Amendment right to say what he wanted, But along with that, there's no guarantee of consequence. There's no freedom from consequence. You can say anything you want, but I guarantee you, you go up and you talk to a black guy and you call him a big, you know what, he's going to punch you in the mouth, rightly so. That's called consequence. Yeah, you can say it, but you may take a shot in the lip. And that's the whole thing here. And it's a FAFO, FAFO, F around and find out if these personalities want to have an opinion, they have to live with it and take the consequences. He could have just kept quiet about it. He's a comedian, not a political satirist, I guess. Maybe he thinks of himself as that. They're free to speak their mind, but they're not free from the fallout. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Of course, the people of Dildo, Newfoundland, support their mayor, Jimmy Kimmel. They're disappointed he no longer will be spreading his vitriol on the airwaves and have invited him to come to Newfoundland and visit anytime. He will be treated like the honorary mayor he is, with a giant boost to tourism. Now, Dildo doesn't have a mayor or council, so he would be the biggest shot once again. The townspeople can relate to Kimmel. A lot of people have urged them to change the name of the town, but free speech allows them to keep the name Dildo. And Kimmel's a real dildoite. He is. He belongs there to retire peacefully and serve his term as mayor. I think the mayor of Dildo is exactly the title he needs, and it fits. He's where he belongs. So, with Kimmel gone, that makes it a trifecta of a-holes off the air. Stern, Colbert, and Kimmel. The View is temporarily off the air. Let's hope it doesn't come back. And we're just waiting to make it a foursome by adding them to the list. No more whoopee for these loonies, and that's that. They're gone, and people are crying about it, but, yeah. Too bad. That's what I say. It's it's just too bad. Just like they're saying in Dancing on Charlie's Grave, it's too bad. Now, I had to sit there yesterday and watch the Charlie Kirk tribute, speaking of Charlie Kirk, and I watched as much as I could of it. I was on my way back from Pennsylvania for some of it, getting things done. But it was something spectacular. With over 200,000 people making the trip to Phoenix from across the USA, a capacity house of 73,000 with others out in the parking lot and 20,000 more in the other stadium. And they say an audience worldwide of 100 million people. Like, this is amazing. They're packed into State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, to honor and pray for Charlie Kirk. Much of Trump's cabinet was there, and they gave speeches. They were there to honor Charlie with speeches reflecting on Charlie's life and work. And Charlie knew most of them personally. Donald Trump Jr. said he was like a brother to me and a son to my father. His wife, Erica Kirk, gave a speech for the ages, one that guaranteed this was not the end, but the beginning of Charlie's work, saying Turning Point USA would continue its crusade to take back the youth from the indoctrination centers they call colleges and universities. After Charlie's assassination, 60,000 new chapters of Turning Point have been applied for with hundreds of thousands of new members. This is truly a revival of the ages. I mean, this is huge. The whoever was involved in this, and I'm not quite sure that this kid, Tyler Robinson or whatever his name is, was involved by himself in this. I think there was more people involved. I don't think this kid could have pulled it off. I don't even know if this kid used that rifle to kill Charlie Kirk. I mean, for most people I heard from, they said a 30-06 round would have taken Charlie's head off at 142 yards. It wouldn't have left just a little hole the size of your thumb in his neck. And they're saying it was an exit wound, not an entrance wound. The shot came from behind him. So, and he wasn't wearing a flak jacket. So there's a lot of questions. And I'll get into more of those as we get answers to them. But there's still a lot of questions on this. And Erica Kirk stunned the crowd when she said she forgave the young man that murdered her husband and offered him mercy and forgiveness, saying, "On the cross, our Savior said, 'Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.'" And she forgave the young man. She went on, "I forgive him because it was what Christ did and what Charlie would do. The answer to hate is not more hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love and always love. Love for our enemies and love for those who persecute us." I mean, most of the crowd was in tears at this point. It was very, very touching speech she gave, and just the thought of this widow, their kids, not seeing her husband, 31 years old, assassinated in front of her, their kids. And of course, Trump was the last to speak, calling Kirk a martyr for America as he bid farewell to what he called an American hero. Charlie loved America with everything he had, and we can clearly see today America loved Charlie Kirk. And yeah, all those people there, and millions and millions watching, hundreds of millions watching. Trump said Charlie's message will resonate even louder in death than in his short life, which it will. Our greatest evangelist for America liberty became immortal on September the 10th. Nobody will ever forget Charlie Kirk, and neither now will history, is what Trump said, and that is the truth. Now, a lot of guys were complaining about Trump rambling off in different directions, but that's Trump. If you know Trump, Trump's going to be Trump. And at the end of the day, he ties it all together. Everything had to do with Charlie Kirk and what his thoughts were on different things, whether they be the war in Israel and that kind of thing. And he brought it all together with, at the end, with Charlie's love for America, his love for Christ, his belief in God, and his love of his family. The three things that most people should have in their life. A handful of protesters were outside the arena with goofy signs. But other than that, I mean, there hasn't been a lot of blowback from the right wing people because we're not like them. After George Floyd, America was on fire. There was riots, there was looting, there was burning. They took over Portland. It was a big, big thing. But then again, the right's not not involved with terrorist groups like Antifa, who Trump just declared a terrorist group. We're not the same. We're not the same. We have vigils. We have prayers, praying for Charlie Kirk and his family, praying for America, praying for Trump. It was a touching tribute to a great Christian, true patriot, a revival that has not been seen in the USA for 100 years. Rest in peace, Charlie, and God bless you and your family. You will be missed, and but you won't be forgotten. Your legacy will live on. So, what was our prime minister doing while this celebration was going on in Glendale, Arizona, commemorating the life of Charlie Kirk? Well, oh man, what's wrong with this country? What is wrong with this country? He was signing papers to officially recognize the terrorist state of Palestine. How do you like those apples? Well, America's celebrating the life of Charlie Kirk and memorializing him forever after being assassinated. Our MP was signing a bunch of papers with terrorists. That's right, he forgot about the slaughter of 1,200 people by Palestinian terrorists and kidnapping of 300 more on October 7, 2023. And he signed this to recognize them. He blamed Israel for what he said is working methodically to prevent the prospect of a Palestinian state from ever being established. It is now the avowed policy of the current Israeli government that there will be no Palestinian state. And he's in lockstep with the European leaders who also announced they're recognizing the state of Palestinians. The UK France is going to today. Maybe they said today they're going to recognize them. Australia's recognized them. So he's in lockstep with his European buddies, who he would love to. He wants Canada to be a part of the European Union, even though we're not in Europe. I mean, this guy is a loony. He's cuckoo. Now, Pierre Polyev, that's what it is. PP, I call him, said that conservatives will always stand for Israel's right to exist and defend itself, living next to a future demilitarized, terror-free, democratic, and peaceful Palestinian state. Well, you're not going to have that unless you get rid of Hamas, which Israel's doing right now. Conservatives will focus on what is good for Canada because it's time to put our country first for a change. Bravo! Yes, it is. Forget about all this other crap. Canada first. Canada first. I don't get why Canada isn't first with these guys. That's where we are. That's the country we live in. Why wouldn't Canada be first for Carney and all these other left-wing lunatics? Well, because a lot of them don't like Canada. They hate Canada, as a matter of fact. And they're doing everything they can to undermine everything that Canada has going for it. Of course, Hamas is delighted. What terrorist group wouldn't be when they're getting the support of countries around the world? Yeah, we can go in, slaughter 1,200 people, take 300 hostages or whatever it was, and they're going to recognize us as a state. That's our reward for being terrorists and murderers, and raping women and killing babies. That's what we get. The Israeli embassy in Canada said it's deeply disappointed by Canada's decision to acknowledge a Palestinian state in the current context, which it added does not bring the hostages home, free Palestinians from the grip of terrorist group Hamas, nor guarantee a peaceful future for Israelis and Palestinians, nor guaranteeing us they can all go back home from Canada because it's safe. It only rewards Hamas and its sympathizers. We compel Canada to reverse this decision and support a future agreement through direct negotiation and mutual recognition. Now, Avi Abraham Ben-Lalo, CEO of the Abraham Global Peace Initiative, told CBC he was shocked and that Carney moved ahead with this even though the Palestinian Authority did not meet the conditions laid out by Canada, nor did he go to the House of Commons and ask. Carney basically reneged on his words and promised to Canadians in the past. He added that the Jewish community is feeling angry, upset, and fearful of what the future holds here in Canada. Ben-Lalo also said the Palestinian Authority has no control over Gaza, and Gaza is still at war, which is the truth, because Hamas is running the show. And to me, this just emboldens the terrorists we already have here in Canada. And Carney is being reckless, declaring anything until this fight is over and settled. He is undermining the peace process, actually. The declaration declares that violence, not diplomacy, is the most expedient way for terrorists to get what they want and achieve their radical political aims. I see a lot of trouble on the way in Canada. And emboldened Palestinian people that are already causing trouble is not good for Canada, lead to more protests and violence. I may be wrong, but I personally do not see anything good that can come out of this. Carney, I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea. Just wacky. Now we're going to stick with Carney and his elbows up tour. But before that, I want to get to my third sponsor, Hamel Machine Company. And whenever you have a industry moving into a city, first thing they want to know is, if something breaks down, how can I get it fixed? And that's where Hamel Machine Company comes in. Since 1948, they have been helping business and industry, small and large, achieve their goals and make money. Oh, that's right. When you break down, time is money. The longer a machine is broke down, that's doing production, the more money you lose. It's got to be running for you to make money. They call up Hamel Machine Company. Hamel goes in. They look at what needs to be done. They reverse engineer the part. They fix the machine. And if they can, they make it even better. They have the technology, they have the staff, they have the professionals at Hamel Machine Company to do that. They've helped the wine industry, the agricultural product industry, they've helped the food industry. They've done that for a lot of different industries in the Niagara region and abroad because they ship their stuff all over the world. When they make a new product and innovate a product, they ship it around the world for everybody to use, no matter where it is. Hamel Machine Company, this is what they do. 3D printers, water jet cutters. They have it all there, but they haven't forgot about you, the little guy. You have a problem. You need something fixed, repaired, machined, engineers, fabricated, you name it. They can do it for you. That's what they do. And they've been doing it since 1948. Hamel Machine Company. Go to hamelmachine.ca to check out all the wonderful stuff they do. You'll be amazed at what they do for the wine industries around here. Support our sponsors because they support the show, they support the city, and they support everybody. They're good corporate citizens. What can I tell you? Support our sponsors, please. Thank you very much. Okay, in other chilly Carney screwed Canadians news, without a deal with the USA, the elbows up idiots that represent Canada, businesses fear for their survival in Canada as the U.S. halts duty-free shipping. Now, the Trump administration has ended the duty exemption for goods going into the U.S. valued at $800 and under. That's right. It was known as the Minimus exemption. Anything under $800 could go in duty-free, tariff-free, if you will. This little gem is now gone. It may not sound like a big deal, but Canadian business that sells smaller items, books and games and stuff like that, smaller items under $800 are in for a big raise in the cost of their goods shipped to America. Depending on the month, some businesses sell 20 to 50% of their goods to the U.S. market. And when they say depending on the month, I would imagine they're probably talking about now, up to Thanksgiving and after Thanksgiving, U.S. market for Christmas. And they've basically had to end their shipping to the United States as their goods have at times doubled in price. And there's no way around it except for a trade deal with the U.S. They've got to get this back. And Carney's the one to negotiate it and get it back. Well, what's he doing? Nothing. SFA. He's too dumb to be able to make that deal. I mean, I don't know why. He just can't do it. Can't do it. Some items are tariffed at 50% or more, some at more. I know my buddy at Carparelli Guitars has stopped shipping to the U.S. simply because the price for his products, guitar parts, necks, even guitars themselves, have doubled, and sales are basically done due to the price, he told me. And I said, well, can't you somehow drop ship them from wherever you get them from right to somebody in the States and move them? He says, no, everything I do here, I can't do it. I've thought about it. I've explored every avenue, but something that's $1 is now $2. So, a couple $100 is $400. You can't compete with it being made in the United States anymore. So, I mean, some of it's not only about price for these people, neither. There's stuff that has to be delivered in time, and as it gets held up at the U.S. border and customs, because they have to assess the duty and that on it, they just don't want to wait. So, basically, with that gone, it's over. Of course, like many of the TDS Canadians, a lot of these business owners are blaming Trump instead of looking to Ottawa and waiting for Carney's to send something out of his office to straighten this all out. But there's nothing forthcoming. I would advise they don't hold their breath. Remember, Carney's goal is to break Canada, not help you or any other business. He's loyal to China and terrorist groups. You would be better to move your operation to the U.S. if possible. It would work out better for you because at this point, you're not going to see anything from this guy. I'd be shocked. But you think you have it bad with your small business. How about Lululemon? Athletica, they expect an impact of about $250 million on its 2025 gross profit from higher tariffs and the removal of the de minimis exemption. Most of their stuff is under $800. They ship a lot to the States. Welcome to Canada. Welcome to Canada. How long is it going to be before you move the hell out of here from Vancouver, where they are, I believe? Go to the States and make your stuff there where there's no tariffs. I mean, they got to be looking into it. I'd be doing it tomorrow. Heck with this. You can't depend on Carney. What are you going to say? The best thing to separate. Come on, let's go get Wexit going. Alberta wants out. Saskatchewan wants out. Manitoba wants out. The interior of BC wants out. And now maybe even more BC wants out with the Northwest Territories tagging along. Oh, and while we're on Carney, how about this one? Whoever elected this gem, I don't know who it was. It wasn't me, that's for sure. I voted for PP. But whoever voted this gem in, guess what? Carney just spent $8.2 million on gender just rice from a company in Vietnam. You're not going to believe this. He claims this rice, is going to lower the world's carbon footprint. That's right, gender just rice. I don't know. I just, what are you going to say? We live with cuckoos. Mm-hmm. And when they say gender just, they mean that it breaks down the world's gender barriers. I mean, I don't even know where you find this kind of stuff. How do you go out in the market and find this? You got to be looking to blow Canadian money, $8.2 million. You got to look pretty hard. I mean, I've never even heard of this. This guy is seriously cuckoo bananas. Seriously, folks, this guy's got to go. It's totally bonkers. And I guess gender just rice is, I don't know, women get paid the same as men, or women are hired just like, I don't know. It's so ridiculous. And here we are. And when I say he's giving them 8.2 million, you know who I mean? I mean, me and you. We're the ones giving it to him. The government's got no money. It's our money. He's up to $2 trillion in debt now, spending money like crazy without even a budget. Oh my goodness. This is a nightmare. We're living in a nightmare in this country. Now, speaking of moving to another country to get out of Canada, I read a distressing story. The Canadian Tire Financial is moving the whole show out of Welland and taking the show on the road to India. Is this true? Has anybody else heard this? I don't have it confirmed anywhere, but an inside whistleblower said that the CTC's financial services branch completed a strategic review in December 2024 and will send jobs, like 800 of them, to India. That would be the call center in Welland. 362 people were let go via a Zoom call. They were asked to tune into a Zoom meeting, and they were given a Zoom address. And they went there, and they're all told by a recorded message they don't have a job anymore. Now, there's nothing in the news, so I don't know how true this is, but I personally wouldn't doubt any of it. Our government is totally useless. I mean, this is crazy. Now, in the U.S., President Trump has said that any jobs shipped out of the U.S. incurs a 25% tariff on any jobs sent overseas. You want to build in the U.S., you hire in the U.S. So there you go. I don't know. Is this true? A whistleblower came forward and said it. I'm not sure. I'm sure we're going to find out more about it. It's all over the internet. So I have no idea. I really, really don't. Anyway, we'll see what happens. And I'm going to get to my fourth sponsor, and then we're going to finish off the show for today. And my fourth sponsor is Niagara Parks Commission. And whenever I sit on my front porch, I can hear the falls right from my front porch. And there's 32 miles of the most beautiful, scenic parkway in the world along the Niagara River, centerpiece by one of the seventh wonders of the world, Niagara Falls itself. And when you go there, you see Niagara Falls and you view it for the beauty. And it's spectacular, I must admit. Even for a guy who hears it every day. But for people who come in, the 14 million tourists who come in from out of town, it's an amazing sight. But the Niagara Parks Commission just doesn't leave them looking at the falls for 3 days. No, while they're here, they're learning history of the area. This is an area that's rich in history, from the War of 1812 to Tesla, the generation of power that feeds the Northeast of the United States, and started in the late 1800s, early 1900s with power stations, which were engineering feats at the time. And you can go into one of these power stations, see how it worked. And they have wash tunnels where the water came through the turbines and then went out into the Niagara River. They refurbish you and walk right out to the edge of the Niagara River. It's amazing. They also have scenic tunnels where you can go out and stand right next to the falls. I mean, you can almost reach out and touch the water coming down. It's soaking wet by it. You also can see the whirlpool where the water makes a turn out of Lake Erie over the falls and then down towards Lake Ontario. There's a big whirlpool. Spanish aerial car traverses that. They have the Great Gorge Trip where you can go down there and see Grade 6 rapids, so dangerous boats can't navigate through it. Not to mention Butterfly Conservatory, butterflies from all over the world, School of Horticulture, plants from all over the world, plants you don't normally see in Canada and in the United States even. They're all there. They have it all. Niagara Parks Commission has it all. And you can even see Bob Gale's goats eating grass down the parkway instead of mowing it with a lawnmower. It's amazing. Niagara Parks Commission, go to their website, niagaraparks.com, get your attractions pass, get your parking pass, come to Niagara Falls, enjoy it. And the people who live here, don't forget about it. Go down there, see what Niagara Parks has to offer for everybody, not just for tourists, for everybody, even those in the city. Like I say, niagaraparks.com. Please support our sponsors. They support the show. Okay, so let's go over to Afghanistan now. Remember when that disastrous pullout from Afghanistan by Joe Biden? Losing the American Bagram Air Base along with $85 billion of American military equipment? Well, Trump wants the air base back, and the Taliban are saying no, which is not playing well in the Department of War or in the Oval Office. Now, about a year ago, the Taliban celebrated the third anniversary of their takeover from Biden, had a grand display of all the military equipment Biden left behind. Oh yeah, they're showing it off because they're using it now, probably, what they can use. Catching the eye of the White House and the eye of Trump, who used the biggest failure in American history as a stepping stone to a landslide victory in last year's election. Citing the gross incompetence in the whole disaster, Trump said they're going back in. They want their air base back, and they're going to grab their equipment back if they can. Now, you got to stay tuned for this one because this is going to be good. We'll see what happens. Trump said he's going in. He's going to go back and get it. I wouldn't doubt it for a second. That's one thing about Trump. Promises made, promises kept. When he says he's going to do something, he usually does. I mean, if you saw over the weekend here, they blew another one of these cartel boats out of the water in international waters north of Venezuela. So he's not letting them get away with anything. He's taking it over. He's going to go in there eventually. He's going to clean up Mexico, and he's going in and cleaning up Chicago too, whether they like it or not. So it's a really, really crazy thing. Now, he also is on the tail of Soros, George Soros and his son. He declared Antifa a terrorist organization, and that's long overdue because that's exactly what they are. And don't worry about it. They got branches in Canada too, Antifa, and they're active here causing trouble. A lot of the stuff you see is funded by Soros because you always follow the money. And this Soros guy funds a lot of the terrorism you see in the United States and in Canada. Now, Trudeau in Canada funded Antifa. So there's a connection there. They actually funded Antifa. Now, it's hard to believe that Canada would do that with our tax dollars, but they did. So, as we declare them a terrorist organization, you'd think that maybe Carney would? Not a chance. Not a chance. They're going down. They're going to take them. They're going to take them all out, and they're going to follow the money, and they're going to find out who funded them. It's going to point to George Soros, and there will be action taken. But they're going down. These guys. If you ever saw them, they run around with these uniforms and masks. They're well funded. You can see they have money. They buy all these signs that you see. They're all manufactured. They're not just guys at home that run to the protest and write on a thing with a magic marker. These are professionally made signs that are given out. They had laid bricks where rioters were when there was the George Floyd riots. Black Lives Matter is another one of them. But yeah, this is all going by the wayside. Trump's declaring these guys terrorist groups just like the cartels, and he's going to take them out. And that's what he does. And that's what he does the best. Anyway, that's about it for me today. I'm done. And it's good to be back. It's good to be back here talking. I know maybe Benny Sarah listened to me today and give me some feedback. Says my ratings have tanked. They've probably been at the highest they've ever been, really. I mean, it's not like I have 1 million listeners, 10 million listeners here. Benny, I mean, there's nobody who does it. They don't even nominate me for the Review Baloney Awards. Never mind. I have no, my ratings have tanked. I wish I could find out who this other guy is, too. Phil Rose. You probably heard me talk about this guy. He always comments, too, telling me my ratings have tanked, my shows suck. And I just laugh at him. And these guys, they're too much. Phil Rose. I don't know who he is, but he's probably somebody I know, too. He's probably one of Benny's friends or something. Phil somebody. I don't think he's related to Rick Rose, but who knows? Either way, it could be. It could be Phil Rose. I don't know. Anyway, these guys, they make me laugh. I mean, I said to Benny, why don't you have a show? Come on to a show, man. I'll get you in here. You can do your own show if you think mine's that bad. Come on. Come on. Nah, these guys talk a lot. They don't know. They like Facebook. They like Facebook to do their talking. I'm out here. I tell everybody what I think. I mean, like it or not, I'm here. I do it every day. So big deal. You might not agree with me, and that's fine. Leave a comment. We'll talk about it. But Benny, I want to see you in the studio. I want to sit here and talk to you. I think it would be a great show. You're welcome anytime. Open invitation, my friend. Anyway, I'm out of here. Don't forget to support our sponsors: Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, Hamill Machine Company, and Niagara Parks Commission. They support the show. They're good corporate citizens. Please support our sponsors and get those elbows down. Get those elbows down. Let's make some deals so our businesses aren't getting crushed by these goofy tariffs that should have been negotiated by now. And of course, this Carney guy likes to push Trump's buttons. He committed to 16 F-35s. He's going to have to buy them. He has no choice. But the order was 88. Now he wants to go and buy them somewhere else. I talked about them in other shows. It's totally ridiculous, totally nonsense. It'd be nice if he went to Trump and said, hey, I want to talk to you about the F-35s. Come on, we're going to make a deal here. Let's stick together. And he didn't get the ferries built in China. He let a Canadian boat builder build them for Canada. That would be nice instead of spending billions of dollars in China. I mean, there's a lot of things he could be doing, but this guy, he really doesn't want it. If he did, he'd be doing it. We know that. We know that for a fact. God bless you all. I'm out of here. Paul K. Lemire, your city, your voice, 4680Q Radio. See you tomorrow at noon. Promises made, promises kept. Have a great day, everybody. And can I say, be kind to one another. See you later.